Hi everybody, welcome to my channel. My name is Amy. I go by Fiber Arts Amy here and on Instagram. I am here right now to film a quilting video. I have so much to show you and not all of it. Like I can't possibly show you everything I've worked on. I forgot to bring down my Tula pink quilt. That's okay. I'll show you guys next time. Okay, I have tons. I just filmed a floss tube. If you've already watched that, you'll have heard me say my cross stitch, my stitchy bug has been pretty bad lately. Pretty non-existent. But although it is ramping back up, I've been working on my Princess and the Dragon a lot. My quilting bug has been like through the roof. So there's been a lot of quilting getting done. Well, no projects finished, but lots of progress being made on various things. I have a ton of stuff like piled up. These bins, by the way, is wool. In case you're like, what? This is wool I've combed. This is wool I've dyed, but not yet combed. And it's on top of my dog's crate. So in case you're like, what's with the bins? It's wool. Okay, anyway, it's a new angle for you guys. You can see our deck, spinning wheels, embroidery stands, all kinds of stuff. My dog doesn't know what to do with herself because I'm standing up. And so she's standing beside me, just like looking up at me like, Mom, what are you doing? Sit down so I can cuddle you. Okay, so yeah, my quilting bug has been pretty overactive lately. So on the way home from, I'm just gonna jump in and start showing you stuff. On my way home from the Queen City Stitch Retreat in October, I actually was exhausted. And so I had to stop a lot to like walk around and like keep my blood flowing because it's like an 8-hour drive without all of these stops. And I need to get my blood pumping. So one of the places I stopped was in Antique Mall. They literally like, it was just, there was like a bill. I was sitting there thinking, I gotta stop. I gotta like walk around, right? And there was a billboard I passed that was like Antique Mall, 1 mile left off exit, whatever. And so I was like, perfect, Antique Mall, I can walk around. Well, I have never, I don't usually get lucky with like quilts and things. You might be able to hear my family coming and going. My husband's picking my sons up from school and stuff. So I apologize for that. But anyway, back to the quilts. I stopped at this antique mall and usually I don't find any quilts at an antique mall. Or if I do find one, it's like $300 and is like shredded. So I almost never find one, right? At this antique mall, it was like every other booth had quilts. They were like not always in the best shape, but in like what to me is usable condition and really inexpensive. So I bought a ton of antique quilts on my way home from the retreat. Some of them are already at my cabin. Most of them need some repairs to varying degrees, but I'm going to go ahead and show you guys those first. This is one of my favorites that I bought. I love it. It is, I think, all hand quilted. Yes, it is all hand quilted. There are all of these like boat blocks, sailboat blocks. I think they're beautiful. I am not an expert on dating quilts, but this is obviously handmade and obviously not brand new. It looks like it's been well loved. It's been washed many times. This one is in, oh, here's a fabric that might be dateable. It's got like scenes and things on it. I don't know if you guys recognize a fabric, let me know. I think I paid like 30 bucks for this quilt. So this is the one that I think is in the worst shape, this block. There's like a hole there. You can see where this fabric, this blue fabric in particular, is just like worn through. That's the only spot where I think repair is needed. I love this print. I love this quilt. It's, I didn't measure it. I'm going to say it's a twin size quilt. You can tell that like there's some wear on the binding, but it hasn't worn through anywhere yet. And I've replaced a binding more than once on my own quilts, so I could easily do that. I think this is an absolutely delightful quilt. I'm absolutely thrilled to have gotten it. Now, I saw quite plainly when I bought it that it needed some repair, and yet when I got home, I very intentionally still just threw it in my washing machine. I find that my washing machine's pretty gentle, and I really wanted it to be clean. Oh, you hear that crash? That was a bunch of my stuff. Freya, that's okay. I'll pick it up when it's time to show it to you. I threw all of these quilts. Ooh, sorry to move you. I threw all of these quilts just in the washing machine. I'm doing it again. I just filmed a floss tube and I never turned. I'm gonna get bright a second. Woo! I never turned this on. There we go. Okay. We're a little rough today, guys. Sorry. So all of these quilts, I did it in batches, but I just threw them all in the washing machine. None of the tears were bad enough that they particularly worried me. All of the quilts seemed really in pretty good shape and stable enough to be able to handle a wash in a washing machine. So that's what I did. And maybe I just got lucky, but it still worked out. Okay, so this is another one. Look at how vintage that fabric looks. This one square? No, it's slightly rectangular. It's a bow tie block. Sorry if you can hear that. My kid's moving around. This quilt has been tied. Again, it's not a brand new quilt. It's so fun to me to look at all of these fabrics. I've got to imagine these were scraps or things left over from something. They're all so different. Most of them seem to be like quilting cottons. This one's got like a bit of a waffle texture to it. Most of these I'd say are 100% cotton. This one's got to have some polyester in it. Look at how cute these fabrics are. They're beautiful. This one's in pretty good shape. Again, the binding, like you can tell the binding's wearing some. The binding was done just by folding over the backing. And this has such a thin batting in it. Oh, this is a seersucker. How fun is that? This has an inner layer. I love the floral. This has an inner layer in it, but it's so thin that I would guess that it's maybe like, I don't even know that it's a layer of flannel. There's definitely something, but it may just be like another piece of like muslin or fabric. Like it might just be another layer of this. Like this is just like a slightly off-white like muslin. You know, they planned out where to put the ties. You can see, so there's one in the middle of each of these white blocks and then one in the middle of each bow tie. It's cute. What's this one? That crazy plaid. So yeah, that's another one. And this one doesn't need any repairs. And I threw it in the wash with some color catchers. And we'll use these. At some point I'll repair that one sailboat block that needs, oh, sorry for the squeaky toy, that needs a little help. And then this one, okay, so some of these quilts, and this one kind of falls into that category. I don't know. There are places that you can buy quilts that are both handmade and mass produced. Does that make sense? I might not be using the right language to describe this. But like, I mean, those two quilts that I just showed you are obviously like a person in their home made them, right? Some places, like I know Cracker Barrel does this because I own one. And I don't know if some, Freya, no. I don't know if some, I don't know, like malls or stores or something do this, but some quilts seem to have obviously been like handmade, hand quilted, I think. But they also strike me as maybe not made by an individual, like they might have been made as part of business, right? Like for a company. And this one might fall into that category. And there's reasons I say that. So, well, first of all, let me show you the quilt. I love the quilt. I don't care how it was made. I love it. I think it's beautiful. It also needs some repair on a couple, again, see, it's usually like some fabrics, like certain, like a whole quilt can be still in really good shape, and then you'll just see like one or two fabrics that are obviously worn and worn through. But like if you look here, I'm guessing, oh, here's really good. I'm guessing that maybe this was the top of the quilt where like maybe people were like handling it a lot. I don't know if you can see the difference in like fading and wear there. I think there's a place on the border, unless I'm mistaking or confusing two of the quilts in my mind. Oh no, there is. There's a place in some of the stars that needs, Freya, no. She's gonna try to jump up on the chair that my ring light is balanced on. Freya, go to my stitchy chair. Oh yeah, it is the border. Look at that right there. Big holes right there. And then some of the stars, some seams are coming apart. And I think I saw one that just like had a hole. Oh, well, no, I guess that's near a seam too. But like, I mean, first of all, look at how faded that one fabric is. This is part of the border print, and you can see even in that one how like some of it's very faded and some of it's very faded and some of it not so much. That needs to be stitched up. But that's an easy fix. And I have no problem adding an applique to a quilt. There's a tear, small tear there too. I have no problem adding like a few random hearts or stars or something. There's a few small tears there to help them last. There's a few. This one definitely got a little roughed up in places. But yeah, I just threw this one in the washing machine. This has, I can feel it's like a polyester batting in it. So one of the reasons why, I guess this has some characteristics that I associate with some of those handmade quilts that are still for sale. Now there's not a tag on this one. Like there's no, although people of course can cut off tags. It's hand quilted. It's definitely hand quilted. It's hand quilted in an easy grid pattern with relatively big stitches. No judgment. This is what my hand quilting looks like. And then it also was done with the pillow method, where it was like flipped in, like just two pieces sewn all the way around square, turn it inside out, and then do like a top stitch, 1/4 inch from the edge. So there's no actual binding. Again, nothing wrong with that. That's how I made all my earliest quilts. And I know that doesn't mean that it wasn't handmade by an individual, but I guess, but those are characteristics that are also shared by some of those like mass produced but still handmade quilts that I've seen. Also, I feel like the colors in the fabrics are very well coordinated. Like the other two that I showed you feel much more like scraps from somebody's stash, right? Like they were pulling fabrics from different projects and from old clothing and all kinds of stuff to like put together, right? There were mixes of even types of fabrics that were in there. This one feels much more curated. Trying to see if there's a plan to the color placement. Not that I can discern. And it's not like, I mean, this obviously isn't somebody who picked like a Lori Holt line and just used like a line. At least doesn't look that way to me unless it's a much older line. I don't know, these fabrics just have their choice has a mass-produced vibe to me. And I would say this is a queen size quilt, at least a full size quilt, but probably big enough for a queen too. Anyway, I'm thrilled with this purchase. I mean, I bought it kind of being like, I don't know if that was made by a person or like more mass produced, but I still love it. And it's beautiful and obviously has some history to it. So that's another one I got. The others I'll have to show you another time because they are not here. I took them to the cabin, but similar story where they need a little TLC. Although I think my favorites I kept here. So I really like those. One of the quilts I want to show you guys that I just got back from the quilter a couple weeks ago, I can't find. I don't know if one of my kids threw it down the chute or my husband threw it down the chute, but I can't find it. I think I've shown you guys this quilt top before. My God, it's got like lint all over it. For crying out loud. This is just a really simple quilt. It's from a Fat Quarter Shop kit. It uses all art gallery basics. I don't remember the name of like this print, but it comes in a bunch of colors. But I got it as a kit ages ago. I used the Riley Blake linen on the back. The Riley Blake linen is 60 inches wide, and so I can use it. I like using it to back quilts that are less than that. I had her quilt it just with some simple stippling, and it's just a nice lap size quilt. I think it's about 50 inches or 52 inches wide or something. Just really simple and really pretty. So I got that one back. And then this quilt took up a lot of my quilting life over this like spring and summer. So this is, you guys, if you've watched me before, you've seen me make this quilt before. I think I've made 3 of them. I think I've made 2 that I own. And I think I made 1 as a gift for my mother-in-law last year. And now I've made one with Tula Pink fabrics. So I actually made, the reason it took up so much of my time is I made 4 of these. I wanted to make gift quilts for some friends of mine, and I wanted all of our quilts to be coordinated, and I needed them not to take 10 years. So I chose my old standby tumbling block. Now this is mine's a queen size. Well, they're all technically, I think, queen size quilts. Mine's a little bit longer because I had enough leftover tumbling blocks to add an extra strip at the bottom, but they're all really big. So I have a tumbling block template. I had a lot of these Tula Pink. I had some layer cakes. I had some fat quarter bundles of like her basics. And they've been sitting around for years, mostly without me doing anything with them. And I thought, when I started doing the math and seeing what I would need, I realized that these would actually work really great for me to make a set of quilts that were all coordinated. So like they're not identical. All of us have some different fabrics, mostly the same fabrics. They're arranged in different ways. And I had to supplement with, this is a Free Spirit, just plain white. And then I don't know who made this. It's like lint is everywhere. This is like a white on white dot. So anyway, I like, I cut up a ton of Tula Pink into these tumbling blocks and like tried to divide them out equally, right? So that everybody's stack, so I had the 4 stacks of fabrics, trying to keep everybody's stack of fabric having like 1 or 2, how, you know, different colors worked out differently of each color or print in them. The quilting is a bird that is reminiscent of the bird on the back. It's not the same. And I chose I don't usually go for variegated, but I chose a variegated thread with a quilter. It's got like yellows and oranges and like aquas and blues. I just went like wild. 2 of the people in particular that the quilts were going to, I knew would really appreciate wild. So I went a little extra wild. You can kind of see it on the mint green. These were so fun to do. They were really fun to put together. I definitely chose, and this has been washed several times already. It's being used, it's been on my bed. I made a good decision to choose a very simple pattern. I don't usually gift quilts. I do sometimes, but it's not common. And generally there needs to be like a really good reason for me to gift a quilt. I need to be really grateful and really want to do something amazing for someone. Or I need to really know they're quilt worthy or stitch worthy, you know, kind of thing. You know, because I think most of us are that way, right? Like we want to know that like when we're putting something out into the world that it's going to someone who's going to actually appreciate it. Oh, so I really wanted to do this, but also I wanted it to actually happen. I wanted these people to actually get the quilts and not to have it be a project that just languished in my house for years. And I wanted to get them these quilts before the retreat. So I worked really hard to get these done. Anyway, so most of the fabrics, all the solids, I had a fat half, or not a fat half, a half yard bundle of like the fairy flakes. All of those, like we all have them in our quilts. The only difference is I had a layer cake of, an old layer cake of Tula Pink. What are they called? I mean, I think they're basics. I don't even know if all these basics are still available. I think they are. I know these are. There's another one. There's the hexy one again. Where's the other one? There's a, like geode print. Where'd it go? Nope. Oh, where is it? For crying out loud. Oh, it's right. It's under my hand. I think these are still available. I'm pretty sure those are still available. They might all still be available. I'm really not sure if all of these colors are still available. Oh, there's another one of like the geode one. Or the topography. It looks like a geode or like a topographical map. Anyway, those are the only fabric that's different between each of the quilts because in my layer cake, I only had like 1 or 2. I might have actually just been 1 of each of those prints. So obviously couldn't put, we couldn't each have all of those. So anyway, that's something that a lot of my quilting time went into. And then of course got them all quilted. Pardon me while I get a sip. Okay. That's it for finished quilts. Okay, next. I actually have a whole video I'm filming slowly of me working on this particular quilt, but and when it's done I'll put it up, but I don't know when it's going to be done, so I'm just going to show you. I figure out how to show you because I can't fold the book back very well. I can't show you the instructions. Okay. Oh, I should say this is out of Making, number 8, which is Forest. This magazine, I believe, is no longer being produced, but I really like it. I have several of the older issues. So I saw this quilt in here. There's like quilt patterns and knitting patterns and clothing patterns and all kinds of things in these magazines. And all the issues have a theme. Some of the themes I'm more into than others, but I saw this and immediately got really inspired. So this summer, I set about working on it, and I'll show you where I am, but I still have quite a ways to go. I love this linen from Riley Blake. I use it a lot. It's a linen cotton blend. It's like a 45-55 blend, if I remember correctly, maybe 45 linen and 55 cotton. It's very soft. It washes up beautifully. It drapes beautifully. It's great for apparel. It's great for quilting. It just gives like another texture and a different vibe to your work. So I decided, most of you probably know, I do dye the colors I dye for cross stitch fabric. I also dye them as quilting fabric. And I have some quilts I've been working on with my hand dye quilting fabric. You know what? I didn't have it to show in my cross stitch video, but I'll show it here. So this is a pincushion I made for the retreat, and I finished it using my hand dyed quilting fabric. So these are fabrics that I dyed. This is just quilting cotton. This is just a 100% cotton base, and I used it to finish my little pin guy. So I do things like that with it. When I saw this quilt, I just got like a very rustic, kind of minimalistic vibe from it. I knew I wanted to use my linen, and I knew I wanted to dye my fabric for it. So I set about dyeing linen, which I had done some before, but not nearly this much. I was kind of making this up as I went along. I actually have all of the blocks complete. Some of them still need to be cut, because there's blocks around the edge that get cut. I'm actually making mine bigger than the one in the magazine, but I'll show you my blocks. So these are all my hand-dyed, it's Riley Blake linen, so not cross-stitch linen, quilting linen. I don't have a good, a good place to put everything. Here, I'm gonna do it this way. So they're all similar. I decided I wanted an all blues and greens, greens, and grays kind of palette. So, and then they'll have a white linen sashing in between them. And once I finish the quilt, I did kind of like a quilt along, like work with me as I'm quilting it. I'm working on filming that, but I'll put it up when it's done. And I did this all kind of in a weekend at my cabin. I got that issue of Making and kind of fell in love with it, fell in love with this project. I spent the week here at home, this was months ago, dyeing the fabrics. And I mean, they're very simple blocks. They're very large, very simple blocks, but dyed the fabric and spent the weekend at my cabin sewing them together. Just got it done in a weekend. It was really fun. I just need to cut the sashing and assemble the quilt. And one of these, so a couple of these blocks will get cut in half to be on the edges, and one of them will get cut in 4/4 to be on the corners of the quilt. I love it. I love how the color palette turned out. This was a super fun project, and I'm getting really excited about it again, just standing here and handling the blocks. I need to get this finished. it's just like there's a warmth to linen that I really enjoy. I really like working with it. And I really like being snuggled up under it. I'm still going. I think there's 18 of them, if I remember correctly. They're a little bit wrinkly. They've been folded up for several months now, so I haven't gotten back to it for a while. All right, so there is another project that I am working on. And all I did, and my piece of paper in here, I'll show you. This is what I do. So the original quilt, I think was like cut in half there. I actually think I just added on another row here, I think, to make it like a more usable size. Now it's going to be 84 inches square. I just usually use a blank piece of paper, sketch out what I'm going to do the math, and that's kind of as sophisticated as I get. That really needs to get done. Stay. There's so much stuff. All right, what to show you next? I'll show you this. All right, I can't show you the pattern, and I didn't print out the cover page. I often don't print out a cover page because it just takes so much ink. So this is the bespoke pattern from Coriander Quilts. I think I can show this okay. That's kind of the pattern. So Coriander Quilts is a YouTube channel that I occasionally watch. Like I'm not, I don't watch it religiously, but I'll definitely turn it on here and there if I'm looking for something to watch. So I was watching her videos literally just like a few days ago. And this is a quilt pattern that I think she's had out for a while. And it was originally, I think it was originally put out. I'm trying to think. It was originally put out with basically like a white background and colored prints, as most quilt patterns usually are. Well, she showed an example on her channel. She showed that version. She also showed a version with the darks and lights reversed. And that's what I fell in love with. So I'll explain more about this in a minute, but I've been digging in my wovens stash. I love wovens. And there's another project I'm going to be doing with them. And I was digging through my wovens for that other project. And I just found this 2-color combo that I really loved and I thought would look great using this like dark light reverse version of the bespoke quilt. So, and I've got it all cut. I haven't sewed anything yet, but it's all cut and ready to go. So and I don't even know what this is. It's got the brown selvage. I don't even know what brand that is. That's one thing about wovens is they don't have the selvage that a quilting cotton does. So after I've bought it, I don't label it. So I don't even know what the heck it is. But this is like a really dark midnight blue. It's beautiful. It's got like a black and a midnight blue in there. I love it. And then this, I should show them together, kind of aqua, white and blue chambray. I think this might be a Tilda chambray. Chambray just means you have different colors going in the warp and the weft. I wish this blue is definitely blue in person. I don't know how dark it's coming out to you guys, but it's definitely a blue. So those are the 2 solids I'm using for it. And then I have, and they were already cut. I had several charm packs of Linen Closet from, oh, I'm going to sneeze. Excuse me. I had several charm packs of Linen Closet from Fig Tree Quilts. I am a big fan of low volumes. I just love the look and the feel and like the visual softness that they give a quilt. I love that one a lot. So some of them needed to be cut into 4.5-inch squares. So I have those here. So this is going to be my bespoke quilt. And I might get to do some sewing on that this weekend. I've been making a ton of progress on a ton of things, ton of quilts. I haven't finished any yet, but I might be getting to the point where some of them start being like, okay, now get me done. Like, I'm almost done. Just finish me. I need to bend down for a moment to pick up that stuff that fell. I'm gonna have to bend down several times. Okay, so here's what happened. Y'all are gonna have to make me feel better and let me know if this has ever happened to any of you. Okay, so one quilt shop that I order from is called Got Quilts. I think they're in the Pacific Northwest somewhere. They do a lot of Tilda. They do a lot of recoloring quilts in Tilda fabrics. They kit up a lot of Tilda patterns. They don't just do all the new patterns and whatnot. They also will go back and like recolor old patterns into new lines and stuff like that. They sometimes have old lines that they're selling. They also sell other things I'm interested in, like Acufactum fabrics, which I love. Anyway, they sold a kit a while back. Oh, I can show you. Okay. They sold a kit. Is the label still on it? Oh, oh, it's in here. Okay. They sold a kit that I bought for Tilda's Cozy Patchwork Quilt Kit. And it was just, all I like remembered, right, is it's this really cozy, simple blue and white throw quilt. And the pattern is in this book, which I have, because I got a bunch of her old books. Tilda used to publish her patterns in books. Now they're all available for free on her website when a collection comes out. Okay, so I've had this kit sitting around for ages that I know I want to work with because the fabrics are just beautiful and I want to get going. So I see this, I have my book, I open up to Cozy Patchwork Quilt. Okay, Cozy Patchwork Quilt. And I start cutting. Look at how beautiful that is. And I remembered that it was like, in my mind, right, this was their kitting up of the Tilda quilt. It wasn't with the original fabrics. It was like a redo, right? And so I know this has reds in it, but I remember being like, oh no, but this is our version in blues. So it's like, oh, okay, cool. And I start cutting. And I finish cutting, but I'm like, okay, something's weird here. I have like too much of some fabric. I don't have enough of other fabrics. And so I went to Got Quilts Instagram to get another look at the quilt and was like, oh, as soon as I saw it on Instagram, I was like, that is not the quilt I'm making. What did I do, right? Well, if you keep going in the book, there's Cozy Patchwork in blue. Completely different quilt. This is the quilt I was supposed to be using the kit to make. And instead, I cut for that. So it's fine. I went and did my math. I figured out, I was like, okay, I'm just making the red one now in blue. It's fine. It just took me a little time to adjust to the ridiculous mistake I'd made. I just felt so ridiculous having made that mistake. So I had to just adjust. I basically counted up because I had the wrong numbers of everything that had been cut. The wrong numbers. Because they also sent cutting instructions. So I was following the store's cutting instructions. So, okay, the store was like, cut like 20 of piece A. And then I have to look in the book to see how big piece A is going to be. But piece A for the quilt I was supposed to be cutting was different from the piece A for the quilt I was actually cutting. So I had cut the right number of each piece according to the quilt I was supposed to be making, but the size matched the quilt I was actually making. So it was all wrong. So I had to go through and count everything. I had to figure out how much I had cut, how much I still needed to cut to actually make the quilt with the red in it. And I think I got there, but I'll show you what I've done. Of course, this is what all fell. There's a lot of white in the quilt. So one of the things I had to do or chose to do was, these are all just beautiful. Like none of these are particularly old, except, okay, I have to say, I don't know what collection this one is from, but I want like 10 yards of it. I mean, it's an older Tilda, as far as I know. Like, it's not one I can currently get, but I stinking love it. I also really love that one. I think that one, is that one from Windy Days? So these are some of my squares. These all fall on the floor. Rectangles. There's some of these are her basics that are like tickings, and I love those. So I'm really glad those are in there. I love that one also, I think from Windy Days. So I adjusted. We're gonna see how this turns out. I think I might not have quite as much contrast in some of my blocks as the original. Like I might have to mix up and have some like darks where there should be lights. But it's an adventure. It's a quilting adventure. We're gonna see how it goes. And then more. So the other thing that I did was, in order to have enough fabric, I used the binding fabric that came in the kit for quilt top fabric, which is fine. I have other fabrics I can use for binding. I have other Tilda fabrics I can use for binding if I want to. It was one of these tickings that's supposed to be the binding. I can just order more if I want to. But we're gonna see how the quilt turns out first. And I actually think I cut enough to make the quilt a little bit bigger, which would make me happy, because in the pattern it's only like 45 inches wide or something, which I don't love. So we'll see how that goes. Something else just... Do you hear something falling? My stitching corner's right over there. It's fine. So that's another thing I've been working on. Actually, that was over the weekend. I think I did most of... Was it over the weekend? I don't know. I did most of that cutting just the other day. I wanted to show you some other things I've been working on. A while ago... Okay, some of this fell too, and I feel like I'm missing... kind of an important part of this that I wanted to show you. I just grabbed some of this to bring in, but this also fell earlier off camera. I think I'm missing like the important part. Okay, well, you'll still get the idea. So a while back when I went shopping actually with Tiffany, Black Cat Xstitchery, she makes project bags, and she lives somewhat local to me here in Pittsburgh. We went to a local quilt shop, and I bought a bundle of these fabrics, which I love. They're beautiful. I mean, I love teal. I love purple. And something about the color palette together, I just really fell for. And I actually have, there's more than just this, more than just these prints. I just didn't carry them all in here. They're in the other room, all cut up. So if you've been with me from the beginning, you've heard me talk about how to make 4 half square triangle blocks from 2 squares. I've done a layer cake quilt like this before, where you just stack 2 quilts, oh my goodness, 2 squares, right sides together. So a 1/4 inch seam all around the edge. and then cut in half on each diagonal. And then you end up with 4 half square triangle blocks that you can arrange in all kinds of different ways. I cut these a while ago and I've just started sewing them together. I'm actually combining them with the natural linen fabric from Riley Blake, which is what I had in here, I thought, but I don't see it now. I'm combining it with that. There's going to be tons of these. Sometimes with my quilting, I like to just I like to just fly by the seat of my pants and just do and not worry so much about all the planning. And that's definitely where this project is. So I just have tons of these squares, tons of the linen squares, and I'm just going to sew them together, have a million half square triangles. And I think I'm going to put the 4 from each of these into like its own little 4 patch. And then the quilt will be tons of 4 patches. They're going to be pretty small pieces. These are, I think, 4-inch squares. I think these are 4-inch squares. So each half square triangle is going to be pretty small. I don't know how small, but pretty small. More than probably between 2 and 3 inches. And hopefully it's going to make a really nice big quilt for me. So that's like an easy, like I just want to sit down. I have like 5 minutes and I'm going to sit down and sew. I can just sew some of those seams all around the outside. Easy peasy. If you know me at all, you know I love joining blocks of the month. You also know that I don't ever keep up with them. But we're trying. I'm really trying. I did join Fat Quarter Shop's Dragon Fruit block of the month. This is done with I think all basics from Tula Pink, who I love. I love this quilt. It's a good size. It finishes at 84.5 by 84.5. I do like really big quilts. And this is done all with their foundation paper, which I do enjoy using. So the kit, and this is only through Fat Quarter Shop. I don't know if they have any left. I'll try to remember to link it below though. So they send out every month a packet of the fabrics you need, but in the first month it came with all of the foundation paper piecing pads that you needed. If you've never done foundation paper piecing before, I think the Fat Quarter Shop pads are a pretty good introduction to doing it. They've got really good instructions in them. If you are participating in this, Kimberly at Fat Quarter Shop also has a like month 1 video on how to get started with a dragon fruit block of the month. So this is, I just hit myself in the face with a pattern. Way to go, Amy. Anyway, this is, I think this is going to be really fun, and hopefully I'm already behind because they sent month 2 and I haven't done month 1 yet, but hopefully I'll catch up. While I'm talking about their foundation paper piecing pads, they had a sale, I think the other day. Sorry for the banging. They're doing different sales this week. I don't know, it's like a pre-Black Friday thing or something. And I think on Monday, their sale was for these foundation paper piecing pads, and I picked up a few. I actually have a pineapple quilt that I'm working on for my husband using their pineapple paper. These are the types of pads that Dragon Fruit block of the month uses. They have lots of different block designs in lots of different sizes. And I don't know, they're just fun. This is what the foundation paper looks like. It's easy to use. It's got good instructions. And anyway, I'm excited about it. So Courthouse Steps. I love Courthouse Steps blocks. So I want to do this one soon. And I also got Sparkle Star. And these make, I think, a finished, 12 or unfinished 12.5-inch blocks. And I got this, this is the linen closet line that I love from Fig Tree. I got this to use with the Courthouse Step blocks, and I'm not sure what I'll pair it with, but we'll see. So I got that. I was channeling my friend Kelly Pages and Stitches the other day, because I got an Anne Maria Horner. I've been wanting to get some of her Our Fair Home line for a while and just hadn't done it. And then this layer cake was on sale, and Kelly loves Anna Maria Horner. I like her quite a lot too. I don't love her as much as Kelly does, but I loved this line in particular. Especially, I'm trying to find like that fabric I love. This one I really love. I love the colors in this one. This one on the front I love. So I got that. This was also on their, it was either their daily deal or their one of their pre-cuts of the week. So I got this. I don't know. I might make a bag with it. Please know this shopping went on over a while. This is not all like in one day. And I still have more. I have more works in progress to show you. Okay. English paper piecing. I've also made a ton of progress on my Tula Pink Marquise quilt kit, and I forgot to bring it down. So I will have to show it to you next time. It probably won't be done next time, but I only have 3.5 more diamonds to put on, and then like the gray and white rows at the bottom. And so it's getting really close. I've also been working on my Hexie Trip Around the World block of the month. I can't remember the name of the woman who started this. This was a 2023 stitch along. Obviously, I have not kept up, but I'm still working on it pretty consistently. I took a break for a while, to be honest, but it's still getting attention. Just here recently, I finished sewing together these hexies and then moved on to this. So this whole row is done now, or whole round. And I fussy cut all of those. I love this fabric. This was an art gallery fabric, I believe. And I absolutely love, they fit in there perfectly. So the whole kind of idea for this quilt was that I was fussy cutting like everything for it. So that I'm still working on. And then this is a poppy cotton print, and that's going to be my next round. I'm trying to make this all like relatively low contrast, like soft colors kind of quilt. So that one's going on next, as long as I have enough of it. It's hard to gauge because of the woman who did the pattern, thankfully, like she tells you how much fabric you need for each round and whatnot, but then if you're fussy cutting, you need more, and it's hard to know how much more, but hopefully that'll work out. Okay, I need another sip of water. I've been talking a lot today. Okay, next, I think I must be done cutting for this quilt. All right, so this comes from a Fat Quarter Shop book, Simply Half Yards from Fat Quarter Shop. I do love a spiral bound book. So a while back, I bought one of these, Amy Butler. Amy Butler does these sales periodically, and I think she must spend time in India. She collects all these kind of hard to find, like, you know, textiles that you don't just find in your normal quilt shop, and then does sales periodically. And I bought a bundle of fabrics from her that are from India. It says hand block printed and silk screened cotton from India, created for you. Okay, anyway, I had wanted to buy something from her for ages. Amy Butler used to design fabrics and also yarns. She designed yarns for Rowan. It's possible her fabrics were for Rowan too, but I don't think so. I think they were for Free Spirit. Also, fun fact, Nora Corbett's friends with Amy Butler. I found that out at the retreat last year, and it blew my mind because I love Amy Butler. Amy Butler does, she used to do bag patterns. This was back before kind of the explosion in bag making that happened. I feel like she's like the original bag designer. Her patterns are so fun. I made tons of her bag patterns. Okay, so, whoop, I dropped my card. So anyway, I decided to use my Amy Butler fabrics from India to make this quilt. I'm gonna have such a mess to clean up. This is gonna be way worse than after filming my cross stitch video. I'm using the white linen from Riley Blake as my background. If any of you guys want to try any of this, shoot me an email because I sell this. Like it's not on my website, but I do sell it to people when they're looking for it because it can be a little bit hard to find. Not a lot of shops carry it, but I love it. So if you want some or want to try some, let me know. But that's my background. And then, oh my goodness, there's just so much. These are the scraps. Okay, so I actually had, I dropped some. I don't know if these were, I'm trying to remember. I had like 20 of them. You only need 12, I think, or something. I had way more than I needed. And I want to say they're half yards, but they're like 54 inches wide or something. So I have way more fabric than I need. So I went through and I picked the fabrics that I actually want to use. Now, one fabric you just use for cornerstones, and that's this one that I'm going to use. Anyway, I pulled what I wanted from the bundle to make into the quilt top. I need to make sure I don't lose any because some of these pieces are pretty small. They're beautiful. They feel more like a lawn. Like they're not poor quality. They're just like thin and very fine fabrics. They're very, very soft. This is one of my favorites. My dog is still very annoyed with me. Oh, no, there's two here. And that one. So, oof. These are my fabrics that I'm going to use for the quilt top itself. But then these are my fabrics I have left. So what I did was I chose fabrics for the top that have a relatively small scale because they're being cut up into smaller pieces. And then I think this one's my binding. If I remember correctly, I chose a stripe for my binding. And then I think I'm gonna use these others to piece a backing, which I like never do. So these were pieces that have large scale prints that are just stinking beautiful. And I didn't want to, look at this, it's beautiful. But I think that'll make a really nice quilt to have this. Look at these birds. I don't know what kind of bird that is. I'm trying to show you this stinking bird. Yeah, so I think I'm gonna just like not cut these, but piece them together to make the backing. I wish you guys could feel these fabrics. They're so, so lovely. And then I'll have a really, really nice reversible quilt. How long have I been talking? Oh my goodness. I've been meaning to film for ages. It just takes energy to do and willingness to clean up. Okay. So that's the thing I've been working on. Another thing I've been working on is this. This is probably my oldest whip. So these are fabrics I bought before I really knew how to quilt. They're from Joann's. They're, I mean, I bought these like 20 years ago, right? Really simple quilt. It's just this block repeating, right, and alternating. Color placement, it's going to be big. It's going to end up being a queen size quilt. I just got all of the rows assembled, and now I need to press them, and I need to sew the rows to each other. And then I have this print from Joann's. I actually am going to add borders just on either side because it's definitely as long. It's like going to be a long quilt. It's like 90 some inches long, but it's not quite as wide as I want it. So I'm just going to add side borders on it using this. And then I have more of the green to use as the binding. So this one's almost done. I'm gonna try not to knock into you. Almost done, guys. Something else I've been working on a lot is a Lori Holt quilt. So this quilt, oh, I didn't bring the picture in here. This quilt came out in her, she did a, is it called, the quilt is called The World of Lori Holt, but she has these like binder pages that it's kind of like a catalog of all of her collections and like notions and all that kind of stuff. And when the first one came out, I actually bought it for this quilt pattern. I think there's 2 volumes of it out now. And this was in the first volume, which I think is still available. I think they plan on just keeping it available. So this is the center block of the quilt. Now, the reason I bought it, I'm sure this is supposed to represent like the world of Lori Holt. But that's not why I love it. Although I do like Lori Holt very much. When I saw this, so it's this, and then there's borders with like spools of thread, make some of the borders, as well as like different, traditional quilt blocks. When I saw this, my thinking was, first of all, empathy, like just like love and understanding of other people is what this makes me think of with the globe. And then if not that, then teaching, which is a huge part of my life. So that's why I wanted to make the quilt. So I finished this block. I finished the cutting a little while ago, and I've been slowly piecing it together because it's a lot of different piecing, right? Like there's like 2 of every block, and you have to, and there's a lot of little pieces. But here's some of the blocks that I have done. I think I probably have half the blocks done now. So I'm making progress. Hopefully I'll make some more progress this weekend. But I bought a kit for this from Happy Little Stitch Shop. So there's a handful of quilt shops that I go back to a lot. Happy Little Stitch Shop, quite honestly, is usually the first place I look when I want to buy something. I love them. I love Angela, who runs Happy Little Stitch Shop. I want to support her business, so I usually search her shop first if I'm looking for something. Of course, I order from Fat Quarter Shop. They're just a great all-around, they carry pretty much everything kind of shop. Got Quilts is where I get a lot of my Tilda. Sometimes I order from Missouri Star if those other sources don't have what I'm looking for. Okay, something I wanted to talk about. Some of you would have a heart attack if you saw how I quilt. So I'm getting more loosey-goosey as I age. I'm lazy. Not in all things, but like in quilting. My quilting and now my business fit into my house around my family and my life and everything else that's going on. I shouldn't say they fit into those areas. They don't. They are taking over everything and carving up space. I don't have a huge house. So I don't have like an ironing station that's set up all the time and a cutting station that's set up all the time. It's just, my house just isn't like that. So it's kind of annoying to sit down and sew, and then I have to get up and move to another room and turn on the iron and try to iron a piece and go back to the sewing machine, and it's just annoying. So sometimes, including doing this quilt, I skipped the pressing. This block has not been pressed at all yet. So what I have taken to doing, and I wouldn't say I do this for every quilt, but I'm definitely doing it for this quilt, and it's going to be fine. I finger press. So the way this block was assembled, you sewed one square to this, and then I finger pressed, and then I sewed another square to it, and then I finger pressed, and then this was a square. You put them on top of each other, you sew down corner to corner, and then I finger pressed. And then once I had those 4 corner sections assembled, I sewed this, I sewed the top row, I finger pressed. I sewed that, I finger pressed. I sewed that, I finger pressed, and then I sewed the rows together. And you know what? My block is beautiful. There was no ironing anywhere near this. There will be before I assemble it into the full quilt. I'll give it a good press. But I think my block is beautiful. It's square. It looks great. It was easy to assemble. And all I did was finger press with it. There's a lot of noise going on in my house right now. Hope you guys are okay with that. So anyway, that's making progress. Okay, something that I am itching to get to, and I kind of can't believe I haven't dug in yet. But I know I haven't just because I need to be able to spread some stuff out to do this. Kelly, my good friend, Pages and Stitches, she designed this quilt that she is making. She's amazing. I love her. Like this is way more sophisticated than my like sketching on a piece of paper. It's also more complicated. So I saw her share this on her channel, which I'll link below, that she was going to start making this. She's got to design a collection that she's going to use for it. I saw it and was like, oh, I need that. Like, I want to make that quilt so badly. So she very kindly shared her pattern. Like, she really, like, there's a packet in here. She's amazing. Let me open these. I thought about it for a few days, but pretty quickly decided that this is what I'm going to use my big stash of wovens for. I'm trying to open this so you can see better. Oh, there we go. So I brought a couple of the fat quarter bundles, but I actually think I'm going to be sticking more with like this kind of color palette. And I have more than just this. I just didn't dig it all out and bring it all in here. I have a lot of wovens that I really, really love. These are Fabulism wovens. I think I'm going to pick a couple of fabrics to use as like more like when I need a block with a background, kind of more as the background. And this is it. This is what I'm going to do. This is what I'm going to use them for. There'll probably be some of this going in, but I think I'm going to mostly stick with these kind of greens through kind of peachy purples. And I'm really excited. So that's on my to-do list. Oh, another shop. I said Happy Little Stitch Shop. Happy Little Stitch Shop probably is still having a gratitude sale this month. And so I picked up a few things from them. I think I needed to order something specific for something. And while I was there, I picked up some fabrics. My husband was laying in bed next to me as I was shopping their sale fabrics. And he was like, oh, you know what? I'd love to have a book cover in that, you know, or like a book sleeve. And oh yeah, you could do something like that, you know, with that for me. So I bought these two. These are basic gray, I believe, for my hubby. And then these two, he really liked this one. Upside down. These two for him. And then I bought some Ties That Bind. Is that what this was called? That is right. From Blackbird Designs. Hold on. Threads That Bind. Ties That Bind. Threads That Bind. That line from them, I only liked some of the colors. To me, these are Blackbird colors. The much darker shades I didn't care for, but these I loved. So I bought a little bit of that. If you're still having fun, keep hanging out. I have more to show you. I just grabbed a bunch of stuff. I didn't even grab all of it. These just came today. I got these from Thrift Books. Okay, so, oh, I forgot to bring it down. This is Sarah Felke. So right now she's doing a Big Woods block of the month with Tula Pink that I'm doing. I'm behind. But I was just cutting it the other night, and I was cutting up month 1. And I was relatively recently made aware that her blocks of the month, afterwards, she publishes in books, in book format. And that got me intrigued because I love the look of her stuff. I wouldn't always choose, like, her fabric choice isn't always my style, but I love the design. So I went searching, and Thrift Books had a bunch of her old blocks of the month. I didn't buy them. I didn't buy all of them because they mostly only had new copies. But I bought a couple of them. Sorry for the bang. And then this one's Homeward Bound. Let's see if I can find you a full. This is beautiful. I also have her block of the month from 2 years ago as a whip, Secret Garden. I'm doing the Secret Garden one, and by doing it, I mean I've almost I've barely started with Laundry Basket Quilts fabric. Something else. Somebody recently mentioned thimbleberries. I don't remember who. I saw on Thrift Books they had a couple of thimbleberries books that I didn't have, and so I grabbed them. This one's a Christmas book. I love thimbleberries patterns. I do love pretty simple quilts most of the time, and I love her stuff. So I usually would choose lighter or maybe brighter fabrics than she uses. Like, my fabric choice would be very different. This one here, I really want to do. I love that. I just, it's funny how something so simple can be really inspiring. A simple block, they've just reversed what the light dark that you would expect. And I see it and love it. Also got this one. Thimbleberries did tend to publish the same pattern in multiple books or publications, which is a little bit annoying. But so some of the patterns in these I have in other books, but others not. I'm trying to find, I love her tree quilts. I've done one of her tree quilts. I've done several of her quilts, but one tree quilt in particular. Again, I would choose very different fabrics, but I find her designs really easy to follow. Oh, this one I love. This one needs to happen. This is kind of like a Dresden, but like not. And I love Dresdens. I really like that. So anyway, thimbleberries. I'm going to save the best for last. This I got for free. Maybe last week or something. Fat Quarter Shop was running a special where you got this for free with like a $40 order or something. I'm guessing they had like a ton of these in the back that weren't selling. I want to say this book's from like 2018 or something. So it's a little bit older. But I didn't have it, and I was placing an order anyway, so I put in the code to get the free book. I wouldn't do this as a Christmas quilt. I don't dislike Christmas quilts, but they're not really my jam. Like I'm not going to do a lot of them, This is just another view of I was looking to see if they had like a good picture of it all done, but they really don't. I would do this with other fabrics. So I got that. And then Kelly, if you are watching this Pages and Stitches, Kelly, but only like half watching it, like not really paying attention, you should pay attention right now. I got this. I pre-ordered this maybe like 6 months ago, and it is awesome. Blueprint Quilting from Anna Maria Horner, who she's not, I was on her website the other day, and I noticed she got married, I think last summer, and her last name is different now. And Yeah, I don't remember what the new last name is. I still know her as Anna Maria Horner. This is awesome. I haven't had a chance to like read completely through it yet. This is the sort of book that you read. Like there are at least significant portions of it you would read. There are quilt patterns in it. There's at least one bag pattern. But there's also a lot of like color theory and how you go about choosing things and doing things and how she approaches quilting. It's a really, really inspiring book. The patterns that are in here are wonderful, and there's a huge variety of what's in here. There's like collage quilting in here, like really good instructions for how she goes about doing that. It's really impressive. This is what I'm gonna make first. And I'm using this as inspiration. I'm not gonna do exactly this, but something very close to it. So if you come back or my next future videos, you'll be able to see what I turn that into. She's got some English paper piecing in here. It just, I love it. I love what's in here. Another favorite of mine is her hedgerow quilt from the book. Kelly, if you don't have this book, you should have it. Part of me wanted to just like buy one and send one to you because I have your address. But then I was like, she probably already ordered it. She probably pre-ordered it like I did like 6 months ago. Anyway, super fun book. I wish I could show you the mess on the floor and on the chair in front of me right now. My feet hurt. I'm tired. I've been talking for almost 3 hours between the 2 videos I filmed today. That's it. That's it. I hope you guys have a wonderful holiday if you are celebrating a holiday next week. Oh, no, I'm going to show you one more thing. It rolled under the chair. My daughter saw a really simple rail fence-ish jelly roll quilt. It's a free, I don't remember the name of it. It's a free pattern on Fat Quarter Shop. Anyway, she wanted to pick out jelly rolls to have this quilt made for her. And she picked out Springbrook by Corey Yoder. And I love this line. I already have some other quilts that are in progress using this line. It didn't take a lot of convincing for me to get the jelly rolls she wanted. Okay, that's it. I hope you guys have a wonderful holiday. I hope you have a good weekend. I hope you enjoy the changing weather like we are here, if you're having that. And I hope you get a lot of crafting in this weekend. And hopefully I'll be back here. Talk to you soon. Bye.